think the bane of existence, aside from data quality and like getting sales and marketing to get aligned together, marketing ops folks live and breathe documentation. And, nothing gets done without documentation first, or, someone leaves and you had like your whole Martech stack built on top of one person, and now you're just like, I wish we had invested more in documentation. I'm curious to ask you about this idea of like a living documentation architect agent or documentation AI agent, like whatever. I'm not a product marketer. Like, have you seen agents that basically convert every decision, every workflow change, every meeting, every Slack thread, every like structured, browsable, auto updated documentation layer? You basically have this like SOP, the campaign playbooks, platform configs, like they're all staying accurate by default without anyone having to manually document or write anything or update anything. It's just kind of all living behind the scenes, maybe more like ambient computing style a little bit. Like, I don't know how this would work in practice, but this is a dream for marketing ops folks. Like, no more outdated Confluence pages or tribal knowledge loss. What are your thoughts there?
Um, Everything you explained seems like, oh, this is so cool. I wish it exists. But no, I haven't seen. I think I agree. Like documentation is a big use case, and like no marketer like likes to spend time on it. Right? It's like, this is the last thing I want to work on. Um, and so I think that I haven't seen anything, but I think like with where some of that Atlassian like product build is going with Rovo and all of that, I think that could. I don't think it'll be like as visionary as you've explained because of like how fragmented like our uh day to day like tech stack is, right? Like my Slack messages and the Google Suite is different, and then Atlassian and like they're not connected. But if everything was like sometimes we'll use Zoom, but if everything was like within the Google ecosystem, like Google Docs, like I could see like how all of it's like talking to each other and Google can build out the product, but we use Slack, right, which is not a Google product, right? So um that's why I'm like a little like, is that gonna be even possible? But I think uh, what is exciting to me though is the agentic browser stuff that is up and coming, and I'm like, I feel like I question every single AI use case or like how it's done with like what I've seen with agentic browsers, where somebody had demoed like they just opened up like whatever B2B marketing platform they use to like set up campaigns, and they just asked the agentic browser to set up a campaign, and it actually did a pretty good job of like drafting it. And I was like, okay, like what happens to the journey agent, like, or if the agentic browser is able to pick up all of these things with like very little context, like, and that's just like, this is not even year one of agentic browsers, like where does it all go? So the living point being like the living documentation architect, right? Like if everything is still happening within the browser ecosystem where you have the Slack, and like even if you're like in fragment, like I could see the agentic browser playing that role. Um, but no, I haven't seen anything quite to that level exist in the market yet.
Yeah, the browser stuff is really exciting. It reminds me, like, because you had a great point about like the biggest obstacle for a documentation agent is just like how many tools, how many fragmented workflows and systems are part of our day to day, and like auto logging changes from all of those day to day. Like, it's just not feasible unless it lives like on a different layer than on the tool layer. Our first episode this year was with Austin Hay, and he's building a CRM today. But he used to like he created the Martech course at Reforge. Like, he's the visionary in the space, and he talked a lot about this idea of ambient computing as kind of the future of agents. Like, right now, a lot of agents are workflow based, goal based, and they're specific to one, two, three, or a couple tools. And with MCP, they kind of tie into some other stuff. But he talked about this idea of like ambient computing, where something that just like intuitively knows everything that you do because it has access
Yeah.
to like the operating system level. So we don't have to like worry about connecting to Slack and connecting to Google Calendar and Asana. because it's connected to your OS, and so like it's already, I don't know if tracking you is the right word
Yeah.
there, but I don't know. It kind of works by like embedding AI directly in your OS and giving it real time access to like all of your files, all of your apps, all of your workflows, and it gets like to understand the context. It can automate tasks across different tools. We're getting a bit more like speculative future here, but I don't know. Like some folks immediately are just like giving an agent access to my OS, like forget about it. Like I'm using that work computer to log into my personal finances. Like I don't want an agent to have
Yeah.
access to that. So that it gets kind of dicey really quickly.
Oh yeah, I would I think the amount of people who are like skeptical about it's a big number. It's not like 1 out of 10. I think maybe 3 to 4 people out of 10 are like worried about, and I would be too in general. Like I think I'm generally okay with, I don't know, uploading my lab results into ChatGPT, but I think the moment that it like starts, like yeah, like my personal finance, right, like
Yeah.
all of that, I start. I am also like wanted like I wouldn't even want to try the tool. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, should I even try it? And like, what is it get access, right? I think all of this is so new. Um, but yeah, super excited on the AI browser. I'm keeping an eye out on it and seeing how it evolves.